The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Tsuburaya Productions.
Hello everybody and welcome to the newest and probably last edition for a while of In Comparison.
Yeah, until after Dino Fury is wrapped up and done and we can have done Ryu Soldier.
Oh no, we'll get to Ryu Soldier before Dino Fury is done.
Obviously. Luckily,
anyway,
there's so much old stuff to do.
We are comparing Go-Busters to Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Just a quick spoiler alert, if you have not watched all of Beast Morphers, we will be discussing the overall plot and plot points.
Because it is a more recent show.
It is a more recent show, so we will give you that spoiler alert this time. We don't give it to Sentai's that have been out for like 4 or 5 years, because it's been out for 4 or 5 years. That's your problem.
Anyway.
Is this going up tomorrow? Or do you know?
Probably not.
Okay. But anyway. Where do we start with? The opening?
Sure, why
Well,
not?
Go-Busters wins hands down.
Which one?
The first one. Because
Okay.
I don't remember the second one
The first
I
one
tried
at all.
The first one wins, but not to say that the Power Rangers one is bad.
No,
I think it's bad because... Partly because I'm so sick of Go-Go Power Rangers. I want us to move away from it and go on to different things.
That's fair.
Very accurate.
That is fair. But their rendition of it isn't the worst one we've heard. They don't scream their names. It's still not Dino Charge though.
I still like the techno aspect of it.
I don't. But I'm not really into
Aspect
techno.
of it.
That's a personal thing.
I don't mind it. So I'm like, all right.
I will agree that is a different spin on it that we haven't heard before, but
I'm welcome to the different spin, but doesn't mean I have to enjoy it.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about these characters before we get to the story, because that's where a lot of my issue comes up.
Oh, really? Wouldn't have known.
Hiromu and Devin. I honestly like Devin.
so do I. I like Devin more.
I would also agree.
Is it sad? I feel like this is going to be par for the course for the rest of them.
No,
Nope.
because I feel exactly the same way about everybody.
About the main three at least.
I feel this way about everyone.
No, I'm saying like I'm like, are we just going to?
I know what you're saying. I'm telling you how I feel.
Well, let's talk about these two first.
Yeah.
As we talked about in our Go-Buster review a year ago, it was a while ago. Hiromu comes off as a little bit stilted.
A little bit.
I mean, I don't know if that's something that the director told him to do or the actor, chose to make that decision.
It's probably a combination of both. It's the script as well.
Yeah, it's like Hiromu doesn't do a lot of emoting until really he starts to interact with Enter, especially more towards the second half of the show.
Pretty much, like you said, all of it all comes from Enter. Before that, he is very much I don't want to say he's emotionless, but he's very stoic.
Yeah.
Stoic to a fault, I think.
Mm-hmm. When it ends up coming to Devin, though, Devin's, pretty out there. I think that the writing didn't help always in some cases because his character had to flip back and forth.
I think it's a combination of writing and performance.
His performance wasn't bad, though.
It's not great,
No.
but compared to, I don't want to say compared to past seasons, judge everything on its own merits, but it's not great, but with the material he's given, I think he still does a really good job.
Yeah. He really,
There are certain scenes where I feel like he really knocks it out of the park, and then there are some scenes, and I feel this way about all the actors, there are some scenes where they're fantastic, where they're emoting in the right way, their energy is exactly where it should be.
especially anything with his dad.
Yeah, the scenes with his dad are really good, the actors have good chemistry,
Yeah.
so, all the props to the actors, the casting, and the directing. But
I would definitely say this is a very well done ensemble cast.
oh yeah.
When you're looking at all of them together.
But
when you're looking at them one at a time.
there are also some scenes where I feel like maybe the energy should have been higher.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about a lot of the cast. It's the energy is, I said, it's just not quite where it should be. They're a little too low.
Mm-hmm.
It's an action scene. Maybe bring it up a little bit.
Just move to the next character. Let's talk about Ravi and Ryuji. I actually liked Ryuji a little bit more, if only because Ravi's actor, especially at the beginning, was
He's pretty flat, but he does get better.
I mean, he gets better.
There are, you know, like Devon, there are scenes where I think he really shines.
Yeah.
And again, it comes down to one of the things that really I think puts Go-Busters beneath Beast Morphers for me is the cast chemistry.
Yeah.
I feel like the chemistry in Beast Morphers is really there. Even if the acting isn't always great, the chemistry between the actors is there, and they seem like they're enjoying themselves and having a good time on set.
I will say this for Ryuji, and this is why I sort of give it to him, and this is mostly just really comes down to the acting prowess that he actually has, because he was very believable in that role. It's like, I believe that he is not just the oldest one, but also the older brother to somebody like Yoko. And that really helped me, at least of the main three of Go-Busters, like, all right, I'm in tune with this guy. I'm all for it. And that's why he's also my favorite of those main three. Okay. No, none of them are like the best, but I still really liked him. And it's shown just in, you know, other roles that he's shown up in since then. But yeah, I personally give it to Ryuji. Matt?
I mean, honestly, it was kind of a toss-up for me with these two. Because I agree with everything you've stated thus far, but there are just times, like I said, when the ensemble of Beast Morphers was so much better than Go-Busters, in my opinion. And I feel like Go-Busters tried to push the ensemble aspect more in their show.
Really?
Because they had that story that binds them together with their parents and everything. So I feel like it was pushed not significantly more, but a little more. So with that aspect of the story, when they're trying to find their, you know, avenge their parents, find their parents. I honestly can't remember. It's been so goddamn long since I watched Go-Busters. 2 years ago, by the way, is when we reviewed it. But just to make yeah, according to you.
Where does the time go?
But longer than I thought.
But because that is a story aspect, and you're going to tie your main protagonists together like this, that ensemble needs to be on point, and they weren't.
Let's actually go on to the next one with this one. Let's talk about Zoe. Zoe and Yoko.
Zoe.
Yep. Zoe.
Yoko.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
You're welcome. I love Zoe.
I liked her a lot.
Yeah, she was my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know that she was my
definitely
favorite,
an improvement.
I definitely really liked her.
Definitely an improvement.
I just think out of the main three, she was my favorite.
No, I'm saying an improvement compared to her counterpart.
Yoko was bland. And it's weird because we got to see her every single year in one various role and one various toku or another. And she's definitely gotten better, but in this show, I think Zoe outweighs her, especially in acting capacity.
In acting capacity, but also story capacity as well.
Yeah.
One of the things that I loved about the story of Beast Morphers is the fact that Red and Yellow are accidental rangers.
Yeah.
And I really like how that's handled. Like the fact that, you know, Zoe goes from being laundry girl to Ranger by accident, but they don't have a choice now. And I felt Jacqueline Soslavsky is the actress's name. I think great job.
Yeah.
Handles the role with grace, and it felt like a really natural transition for her. Like this is something that I felt like this is something that Zoe had been hoping for.
Yeah.
But the way that it happened, like, she still kind of didn't want it.
Yeah. But
she was ready. And I really liked that.
I think one of my favorite episodes with her, not just the Halloween episode where she had to be a Viking, that was hilarious. But the episode where it's like Ben and Betty did something and Zoe was the one to cover for them. And it was just like, I understand that it was their fault, but it was like, this was sort of on my direction that they did what they did.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, Commander. Oops, my bad. This falls on me. And I'm sitting here like, oh, you're that type of person. I applaud you. But yeah, Yoko is just...
I think the problem with Yoko's character is that because she was written as the child.
Well,
are you talking about Zoe or Yoko?
Yoko. In comparison to the other two, it kind of stunted her character-wise because when you give her that kind of character, there's not but so much you can do. She can't go through the same things that
Ryuji and Hiromu
can on a television show. You could try to, because 9 times out of 10 you'll end up at one point or another with the "stop treating me like a child" trope plotline.
which she did a couple times in the show.
And once is enough.
Yeah.
Once is more than enough. Like, but that was my biggest issue.
It's like she does it and immediately gets kidnapped. Which happened, I think, twice.
Yeah.
That's another thing. She was kidnapped way too much.
I feel
Holy shit.
Yoko, I feel, was written. I feel like the character was written too young.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
To go off, to build off of your point.
And it really limited what they could do.
Let's talk about Jen and Nate.
I like Nate a lot more.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Why is that?
I really liked his character. I like the fact the whole like the child genius aspect that we've visited before in past seasons of Power Rangers. I liked how it was handled here. How he's the one who's been working behind the scenes, developing. He's the one developing their tech. He's the one who's he's there from the start of the show. And I really like that how the Sixth Ranger is there from the start of the show. He's helping him out. He's designing all the stuff. He's the brains of the operation.
As opposed to showing up out of nowhere.
That, as Sixth Rangers are often wont to do. But the fact that he's there from the beginning, he's the brains of the operation, and to see him, like, he really has an arc.
Yeah.
The way we really see him grow from being, tech support to fighting on the front lines with his friends, and how we really see them grow together as comrades. The relationship that he develops with Zoe, we see a romance develop there, which I thought was actually handled pretty well.
It's still not a fucking mantis.
Yeah, that was a choice that they decided to make for some reason.
I don't care.
I do.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here like,
I really
it's
do
right there. It's a mantis.
It's not a mantis.
It's a
beetle.
It's a beetle. Mantis have the size. They don't have
horns.
This is a Scyther. This is a Heracross.
Exactly. I see here like that was just such a choice.
Now, I'm not saying that is a fault of his character.
It didn't really bother
no, it's not a fault of his character. I'm saying
that's the show as a whole.
If we had to bring it up at some point.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm just like, what? Like, I understand.
This is not a banana. This is not a spear. It's a lance levels of what the fuck.
I think it was just one of those things. Like they might have been trying to not have two beetles. Because they had the scarab and...
Then they chose the wrong fucking show.
And then they just chose completely the wrong animal.
Yeah.
That was choices. But in regards...
It kind of looks like it's doing this, if you...
Nope.
If you tilt
your
your head...
really hard, tilt your head and change the channel to a different
rub
show.
some Vaseline on the screen.
I was going to say, if you tilt your head, you close one eye, and you close the other eye. Yeah.
And then you imagine a praying mantis.
Yeah, there you go.
You can see a praying mantis.
But in regards to Jen, I just loved his personality.
Yeah,
the dude was a bit of a troll, especially at the beginning.
He was a definite, I don't want to say a foil, but a definite opposite end of the spectrum in terms of characters, because
especially when it ends up coming to Hiromu.
Because he was so, I don't want to say Captain Jack Sparrow-esque, but a little bit.
He was a little bit of that.
He was a little bit of that. He was a very Riddle-ish.
But his story
I need to rewatch that movie. The first one.
I've been wanting to watch the first three again.
Mainly just the first one for me.
I did rewatch the first one recently.
It's still good.
It's still great.
It's such
All
a
right,
good movie.
we digress. But I enjoy that kind of character. He brought comedy to these three kind of stoic characters, where their funniest thing that they've done thus far was Red freezes at chickens.
They don't do the whole weaknesses thing very much.
Yeah,
I still loved his character.
Comedy. He brought comedy to this ensemble.
And
that was actually funny and desperately needed.
Yeah, I loved his story. He's the only survivor from being transported to the digital world. And
holding it in. Damn it, holding it in.
But yeah, it's just like seeing something like him, and then him having to straight up sacrifice himself. It's like, if you beat this guy, I'm dead, but I'm not important here. So
the greater good.
Yeah, the greater good.
So he was just like, it's great to see him, and once again, it's always great to see a returning Sentai actor, and he's appeared a couple times since then. It's always just good to see that character growth, because we remember him as Magic Yellow and Good God Says Get a Grip.
He did.
He did, and this is just like, I loved his character, I loved his arc, and I loved his story, and that's the thing that sort of endears me to him a little bit more than Nate. And the biggest problem I have with Nate is the fact that
he's a mantis.
No, it's the fact that him and Suit doesn't match.
The body language?
Because we're using Jin as a template.
That is an issue.
Everybody else, you can tell they really end up matching their character. But with him,
you can't really see Nate doing like one of these and like hitting somebody in the back. And it just, the body language.
Yeah, the body language as it always is.
It didn't bother me.
Match up.
It was hard. I think...
It didn't bother me the way Super Megaforce Blue did.
Fair, I guess.
Changing from...
Hyde to Joe.
Changing from Hyde to Joe for stock footage.
I think when it comes to these two, I was really on the fence.
Like, I liked Nate, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I think his story is great.
I think Jin was a more fun character to watch. I think Nate was a more well-written and, more developed character. I'm sorry I hit your laptop. I think he was a more invested character to watch, if that makes sense. Both have their merits, but because there's such different reasons as to why I like them as a character, it's hard to say one over the other. But I honestly, at the end of the day, leaned a little more towards Jin because I needed someone to make me laugh during this. And
when it is coming to the plot, I'm going to talk about Nate a little bit more.
Fair enough.
Let's talk
I wonder why.
Jay and Steel.
Because I know someone's probably going to point it out in the comments. Believe me, the irony is not lost on me as someone who is constantly trumpeting from the rooftops that everything should be judged on its own merits. That I do a show called In Comparison, where all we do is that. That being said, I felt like I just had to say that. I'm sorry.
No, that's fair.
That being said, I think Steel is so much better.
I love Steel.
I friggin' love Steel.
Before the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's another thing we're going to talk about when we come to the story.
That's more of a story problem than a character
That was a
problem.
hard story problem.
It is a complete story problem. I don't pin that on the character at all.
Steel was...
Explain why you think Steel is better than Jay.
Steel just brought a big smile to my face every time he was on screen.
So that's with Jin.
That's with Jin and Jay.
Jay, he never did that much.
He was
for
such
me.
a mean...
Here's the difference, though. Jin and Jay were a package deal. They were a comedy duo.
Yeah.
They bounced off each other so much, and all of the great moments of Jay by himself were more from his appearances and other stuff.
Showing up with a broom.
Is showing up
or
with
just favorite. Random episodes like with him with Yoko, where he's just out there being the worst and the best at the same time.
He reminded me, and I don't know why I thought of this when we were watching it the first time. He reminded me of one more family-friendly version of Bender from Futurama, because he drinks the Energon out of a can like he's drinking alcohol and he's getting drunk, but if he doesn't have it, he acts like a drunk. So I thought that character comparison was there, which I thought was hysterical because I didn't know if that was purposeful or not.
And it gives us some hilarious moments, like him just being only concerned with that at one time. I think it was the same episode with Yoko, where some Energon's being taken away. You see Jay running away like this. Just arms out in the most Chad-like way possible.
But Steel was also absolutely hilarious.
Steel was very funny. He had such an ego. And I think that's what made him just hilarious.
I didn't feel like he had an ego.
He definitely
It wasn't so much an ego as it was... He was just naive. He was endearingly naive in the way that a child is. Think about it. Children think they are the center of the universe.
So Thor and Thor 1.
But so did Jay.
I'm talking about Steel.
I know, but it's just that's... Jay, you can say, was older.
True, but...
it's just I transferred
for Steel, it came
I can absolutely see Steel growing up to be Jay.
It came across more... Well, what am I trying to say? It came across more as it was ego, but in a childlike, innocent sort of way. Where, you have to pat him on the head and say, no, that's not how that works.
That's honestly a great way of putting it.
As opposed to Jay, where you have to, backhand him upside the head and say, "Give me that. You've had too much."
Although, still at the same time, had a couple of
Both are funny.
still had
Let's also make that abundantly clear. Both of those are funny. That's not how that works, and get the fuck over it.
still had a couple of moments of enough about you. Let's talk about me.
Is it sad? I could absolutely like going back to the Bender comparison. I can see Steel calling people meatbags. Because didn't he do something similar? I can't remember.
I just thought
I could absolutely see him going, "How's it going, meatbag?"
I also like.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I also love Steele's voice.
Yeah, that was great.
Jamie Linehan did very well as Steel. I just thought Steel just had so much personality. And I love that about him.
Great personality, great energy, really solid performance.
I'll give it to you this, though. Steel did have a little bit more agency over his own character than Jay did. Yes. Because, as you said, Jay was much more of a package deal with Jin. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he works fine on his own with other people, but it's like with Jin, that's
one of the things I liked about Steel more is the fact that he works so much better as his own character.
Which I think is exactly what Marcus is trying to say. Excuse me. And so, I guess I'll have... Yeah, you kind of convinced me. I came in here ready to defend Jay to the last man. And I'm the last man, and I'm falling. Bane collar. Hold.
Alright. I sort of want to talk about the rest of this as sort of a package deal thing. Let's talk about EMC, which is like the Family Management Center the Go-Busters work for, and Grid Battle Force, because we also had to talk about Ben and Betty.
Yeah, we freaking do. Well...
And Commander Shaw. Let's talk about her first. I love Commander Shaw. She was that bitch that didn't take no shit from nobody. I loved her for it.
I liked her a lot.
Also, it's great to have a mom.
It is great to have a mom.
We have two moms in this. Zoe's mom is a reporter.
Yeah. And she's also
I'm trying to remember. Was the last mom we had in Power Rangers RPM? Please tell me it wasn't RPM.
Was it? Was it?
Fuck, it was RPM, wasn't it? Fucking rich, spoiled whore.
Summer's mom. No! Sarah's mom from Ninja Steel was there for like an episode or two.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot.
There's a reason.
So this is the first good mom character we've had.
First good moms is plural. Maybe.
He's going back. He's going back.
I'm trying to think. Udana.
From
Mystic Force.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, she wasn't a mom as a character. She was a mom as a plot point.
But she was still a mom.
Not the same.
And she took on the mom role.
Not to the same extent that these characters. Not to the same extent that we got in Beast Morphers.
Well, either way, getting back to Commander Shaw.
I loved her.
I liked her a lot.
She was great.
So much fun.
She was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, like in comparison to like the actual staff versus the ones from Go-Busters, like I think the Beast Morphers ones win out more often than not. But we still had to talk about Ben and Betty.
Bulk and Skull.
I want to talk about Commander Shaw a little bit more first.
Okay.
Because one of the things I loved about Commander Shaw was the fact that the actress brought like such a lovely little nuance to it.
Yeah.
Script and directing as well, but the fact that she isn't so serious all the time, she knows when to give that little smile, when to inject that bit of humor, when to soften up, and it was great. I liked it a lot. And
I also like the fact that her character grew.
Yeah.
Mostly with Ravi, of course, but...
With Ravi, but also, when Nate and Zoe announced that they are in fact dating, and she's like, you know what? You fight better because you're a team. Not in spite of it. Dating in the team is allowed now.
Still don't like how her arc ended. With her retiring.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that when we get to the story, too. I hate the ending of the show.
That's the short version.
Okay, so Ben and Betty are the kind of stupid that borders on criminal offense. No, I retract that statement. It is a criminal offense. I'm sorry. No, you are working in a... This is so much worse.
Is it?
Yes. Do you know why? Because they are working in a secret laboratory where the fate of the world is at stake, and they're constantly destroying things, blowing things up, ruining everything. Just in general, like, they are the kind of... Okay, if you mistake glue for sunscreen and then decide to roll around in ocean trash to pick it up, You need to go back to preschool.
I mean, hey.
You need to go back to preschool and be taught that 1 + 1 does not equal glue equals sunscreen.
It was effective.
Doesn't matter.
No, it wasn't. I refuse to give them any kind of credit.
But it wasn't.
If you can't frost a cake without and doing the smallest of tasks, like trying to catch a bee in the vase, using a 100-foot thing of flypaper and then wind up sticking to it yourselves.
I think it's just the fact that those characters did not work for this show. Like, if Victor and Monty were the last two, would have been fine.
I don't think the Bulk and Skull dynamic works for any show anymore in this day.
No, it doesn't. We don't need that bumbling duo.
We do not need the bumbly duo. It worked in the 90s. It was funny in the 90s.
I'll tell you what, you can have Bulk and Skull, but you need to change it up. Do what like what they did in the Power Rangers comics, where they're Power Rangers super fans who run a podcast and they're not bullies anymore.
That's fair.
Where they're your man on the street. Do that.
God, what? I'm trying to remember which Power Rangers actually had the Bulk and Skull. It was Dino Thunder. The girl who wanted to be a reporter.
Yeah, at least she was, her and Max. The girl who played the bad ninja from the Ninja Storm. Yeah, it's like, at least they were out there, they actually had a job to do. They were out there actually actively doing a job. But these two...
They got their job because of nepotism.
They did. Because their dad's the general.
It really needs to stop.
And to the point where Commander Shaw would be like, I have the performance report for your children. You should look at it.
I would love to read that.
I've seen blind amoebas do better than this.
I would pay to read their performance reviews.
Now, I'm actually sort of glad that since we got all these secondary characters...
And I don't mean... I don't mean any insult to the actors whatsoever.
No, we're talking about the characters.
I'm just talking about the characters, because the actors, they
did what they were given.
I actually thought they did a good job.
Yeah.
With what they were given, I thought they were fine. But I just have these characters in general.
Let's talk about the villains.
Before we get there, I will end up saying this. I like the fact that since we had all these secondary characters with the commander and the general and
the
mayor, who I thought was also a good character, and just other people, I'm happy that the Beast Bots took a major backseat.
They do, and even when they're on screen, they're not annoying.
Exactly. It's a definite step up from watching Go-Busters, where they didn't have that big of a cast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, I like the mayor. Thought he was fine, but he doesn't have a counterpart to work off of, like everybody else does.
But the villains do. You look very sad.
It's mostly because of season 2.
Yeah, season 2 did not do any good.
Now, which villain are we talking about first?
Let's talk about Blaze.
And
Blaze.
Turn.
I like Blaze.
At first.
Yeah.
I liked him in season 2 as well.
I liked him at first, but then it's just like, we're going to keep recycling him, and he doesn't do enough in season 2.
You're right.
And it's just like, I don't feel like they really did
The problem
enough
is that they made... The main problem is that they took the character who was the actual final villain of the series and demoted him to...
You're talking about a different show, though.
Yeah.
It's a different character altogether.
Because they killed Evox's counterpart at half of the
But my point is...
Because in this show, Evox is...
My point is that the character from Go-Busters, because we're comparing these two characters, was able to stay and grow and become a bigger threat, whereas this one was limited to this single role.
The irony, once again, is not lost on me.
I know.
It's like he doesn't have...
But we're comparing the characters is what we're doing.
I feel like if there would have been a little bit more, I'm going to be the one to try to take over everything.
Yeah.
A little bit more backstabby. It probably would have done a lot more.
Maybe more of a focus on him and less on Evox.
Yeah. Like, I understand what they were trying to do with Evox.
Well, when I say I didn't mind him in season 2, what I mean is, like, the actor still did a good job.
Oh, no, yeah.
But
Again, unless we specifically say so, we're not bashing the actor's performance.
Yes. But,
unless we specifically say so.
But yeah, I still thought he did a good job with what he was given, but I understand why they made Detox Evox.
That's a drag queen.
Is it?
Season 5.
Okay.
All Stars 2.
Moving on.
You've infected me so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, I guess.
Speaking of which, is back.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, back to what you were saying about Evox.
What the heck was I saying about Evox? I understand why they made him the main antagonist going forward, but that gets more into story problems.
Yeah.
Once we get to that,
let's talk about Roxy and Escape.
I think Roxy might.
I mean, I'm going to give it to her.
She gets it obviously, but Liana Ramirez, I think she might be the best actress in this show.
I would agree.
She's fantastic.
She is. I want to see her in other things.
When she's evil Avatar Roxy, she's like just the right amount of camp.
Yeah, and
it's
like
just the right amount.
She's like
she's equally evil, equally campy, and it's like you
it's
nailed
like,
it, girl.
It's like having
you
a strong
nailed
on
it.
the back. It was sort of like having a strong on the back.
Yeah,
she does point and say destroy them. but when she does it, it's not as over the top.
Yeah, Astronomer was really over the top.
But we love that about her.
I'm not saying we don't, but she just like he found that happy golden just right middle spot.
She
is Goldilocks right now. It's
just right. And she's great as that, and when she's regular Roxy, she's so sweet.
I really wish
she seems so nice, and she and Robbie had really good chemistry.
I really wish that in season 2 we got more of regular Roxy and Blaze.
I agree 100,000%.
They showed up I think a total of 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
like,
and
very short increments.
And one of the times that show up, I really hated it.
Speaking of which, one of the people that they showed up with was
not the characters, but partially the characters. It was the episode.
Was Elsa from Dino Thunder? Was her aunt?
Hmm?
The lady who ran the aquarium.
Oh,
cool.
I'm just like, oh hey, it's great to see you. How you doing? It's been a minute.
It's been a while, girl.
It's been a minute. It was great to see her again. Let's talk about Evox, and I guess we also had to compare him to Enter and Messia.
Oh yeah.
Messia didn't do anything, so ain't really much to say there. He just sat there and said, destroy them. But with no pointing because he doesn't have hands.
Enter seemed to actually have a plan.
Yeah, to live constantly because he bet on the fact that they couldn't do anything about the card inside Hiromu.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just like, take over everything.
No.
They put Hiromu in a coma. Enter was great.
Enter was great.
I loved him. He was just such a bastard fan.
Yeah.
Evox and I'm going to include Scrozzle in this as well.
Oh yeah.
For the show, I think they were good. I don't think they, as like you talk about Enter having a plan. I completely agree because Evox's plan never seems to involve keep sending mans until we kill the dudes. And let's get as much Morphex as we can.
Yeah, that's
his plan. Even when you get into season 2, his plan like it kind of does because we have the whole subplot with the mayor and him taking over his body, which I feel like you could have done more with, but it feels like it gets I'll say that for when we get in the story.
Yeah,
but
we're good.
Which is next?
Evox and Scrozzle as well, serviceable, but never really rise above generically evil bad guys.
Which is a problem, especially considering who Evox is.
Is Vengeance.
Yes. When you have somebody like Vengeance, who was, I won the villain. So, just like, Evox...
I won until RPM showed up.
It felt so... It was like a pale imitation.
Yeah.
It was like, you say that this is Vengeance, I don't believe you.
I don't.
It's a fact. Let's talk about the story.
Let's talk about the story.
All right, let's get to it. Season 1 is fantastic.
Yes.
Season 1 is
Season 1 is
We're talking about Beast Morphers. We're going to compare it to Go-Busters as well. But
I think that Power Rangers Beast Morphers has the best Power Rangers story and script and writing and acting since RPM.
Okay.
This is the best it has ever been.
The end of that sentence was going to determine whether or not I was going to scream at you.
What did you think I was going to say?
Just ever.
Yeah,
not ever.
My mind went there too.
Not ever, but best since RPM.
That's fair.
Easily.
That is absolutely fair. Sorry, I was expecting you to go ever, and I won't be like, let me tell you why you're wrong.
No, I would welcome it.
But anyway, no, since RPM, that's absolutely a fair statement.
And like I like Dino Charge, but
Dino Charge tripped to the finish line.
So did this.
It tripped harder, actually.
Yeah.
Dino Charge is good. Beast Morphers is great. I think. At least
because Beast Morphers had a better
I just think Beast Morphers is better.
I'm just saying, I'm agreeing with you that in terms of story, it was better. The cast just kind of melded better. It just worked. Now, minus things like Bulk and Skull, I refuse to call them anything else. No offense.
Yeah, because Dino Charge didn't have
B&B.
But then again, I guess with that many Rangers.
Yeah, you really can't afford a Bulk and Skull with 10 Rangers.
That's supposed to be an ass.
But I think Dino Charge, other than we tried to fuck with time travel, and really no one should fuck with time travel. I don't want to get into that rant right now because it's my least favorite part about Endgame. The Doctor would be very disappointed.
Go on.
It's a joke. Calm down. That's a joke. That's a rant for another day.
No, it isn't. For you, maybe.
Not for this video.
Yeah, season 1.
Season 1 was fantastic.
I love seeing the characters interact with each other.
Despite the cookie cutter cardboard villain.
I love with that though, it's like you had the whole undercut of them trying to get Blaze and Roxy back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not figuring out how to do that until the end, and then the mayor getting captured, and then Devin getting captured.
Yep.
Like all of that I thought was so good. Season 1
It's also paced very well.
It is.
It is mostly Monster of the Week, but they're very good at putting character moments in there.
They benefited a lot from not having some. Essentially, they don't have to go and find this energy source.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Energems. They already have it. They're playing defense, not offense. Hiccups.
I will say, like, in comparison to we'll talk about it to when Messia dies in Go-Busters.
Yeah.
It's just like, I think that this story, especially because of the fact that since they don't have a preconceived relationship like they did in Go-Busters, where they all knew each other since the beginning, or rather before the show started, it's like we get to see these people grow with each other.
Yeah.
But with Go-Busters, it's like, alright, so we had this whole thing, we had to stop Messia, we had to try to get our parents back, we had to stop Enter. Oh no, Escape's here. It's like all of that sort of just happens, but Enter is the only straight up constant throughout a lot of that first part of the show.
It seems to be that the Go-Busters were more reactive and the Beast Morphers were more proactive in their plot. They were actively trying to find a way to get Blaze and
especially when you add in the fact that 2 of the Rangers are accidental Rangers. The fact that they really seize that role and they jump into it head first and like, all right, there's no going back. Let's do this. And
they don't dwell on the past.
No, they don't.
They look forward, and that's a thing that makes protagonists either fail or succeed. Because, and I hate to spin this to anime, there's a reason why
nothing wrong with that.
One of the big 3 of Shonen Jump failed. Bleach failed. It was canceled. It failed. No, its ending was atrocious. Because and I saw a video on it, and this guy summed it up in one question: what does Luffy want? He wants
to be king of the pirates.
What does Naruto want?
To be the Hokage.
What does Ichigo want?
You made this comparison before, and I don't remember what you told me.
To protect his
friends. It was on this very same channel.
It was to protect his friends, to protect the people he cares about. It's a great motive, but it's a reactive motive. Because if nothing's happening to them, you're not doing anything.
What is your objective?
What is your objective?
However...
Don't put that PTSD on me, sir!
However...
Sorry, that is the question an acting professor or any director will ask you when you're an actor. What is your objective?
And you better have an answer.
And you better have a fucking good answer,
Let's
or you
talk
are
about,
fucked.
Speaking about having
Gene.
An objective.
You're not just doing anything.
Let's talk about season 2.
Sorry for the digressing.
No, it's fine.
And where this show fails.
For me, it really is much more systemic.
How so?
It feels like things get wrapped up way too quickly.
Yes!
And
Power Rangers has a formula.
And that goes for everything. It's not just the finale, it's the stuff with the mayor. I feel like it It's not that it should have lasted longer. It's that it should have been fleshed out a little more.
Yeah.
Because if you want to wrap it up in 2 episodes, okay, just do a good job. Because in this one, it's just like my dad is Evox. Oh no, I guess we better stop him. We did, yay! And it happens.
That is
it happens about that fast.
Yeah.
Nothing is.
You know how they did it?
Nothing is given dramatic weight.
You know how they did it?
How they do
With
it?
a brand new toy! Tell them what they've won!
No.
An arrow. Pretty much. I don't like the fact that almost everything in season 2 was wrapped up with an arrow to the knee.
I mean,
it's accurate.
And that'll put your adventuring days behind you.
Yes. It just wasn't good. And it was just like a lot of things started moving too fast. It's like you end up having all the team-ups that you had to do in season 2, which you tried to also tie into the plot, but didn't work. Let's talk about, I think that the Space Sheriff Chaku thing.
Oh my goodness, that was terrible.
It was not as bad as what comes after.
Are you referring to the Dino Charge
Yes.
one? The Space Sheriff Chaku thing just...
It was unnecessary.
It's not that it was unnecessary, it was just like, what are we doing here?
That's the same problem they had in Go-Busters. Because when Gavin showed up, they spanned their wheels for a couple episodes.
It really felt like wheel spinning. It's like, wait, hold on. So there's space police in this universe? Because one of the things I really didn't like about season 2 was the way they handled alternate dimensions. It gets a lot of it is just like side skirted and brushed over. Like, oh hey, we can travel to wait, we can do this now.
They have a raptor,
huh? And then just here's a cop from space. Oops, we made him. Oh hey, we can make you human. Okay, bye. What?
That's exactly what happens. They end up having the stuff with Colonel Truman, which is great to see him again from RPM, and Dr. K, who was honestly the best part of season 2 whenever she showed up.
Did you want to talk about Dino Charge first?
Let's talk about... Well, Dr. K shows up before that.
Does she? All right.
Because they had to figure out how to separate Evox from his
Also,
dad.
we've already talked about the Dino Charge crossover.
I didn't.
Fair enough. He has.
I have our franchise. But yeah, Dr. K does show up beforehand, trying to figure out a way to help Dylan. Because she's just like, all right, maybe we can use the same thing that we did on Ranger Black with Dylan. We're trying to separate the cyborg half from him so he didn't get taken over. It's like, all right, I like the fact that they're tying this together because this is a sequel to RPM as a season 2. But then after that, let's go ahead and talk about the team up.
I want to talk about Dr. K a little bit first.
Okay.
This is gonna be our longest comparison.
Yeah. It was kind of nice to see her again.
She's just a great actress.
She is a good actress, and I thought she did a very good job returning as well. But it just felt kind of hollow.
She was a little bit.
It was just. It's like, hey, you know who this is, don't you?
Maybe.
Be happy, right?
But this, all right,
not as bad as what's coming about what we're about to talk about, which is the Dino Charge team up.
Because I do have to talk about her again at the end of the show.
Okay, fair enough.
But we'll talk about Dino Charge team up first. Go.
What the hell?
Exactly.
I don't know if you watched our rant about it because I participated.
I did not because I wanted to go in blind.
It was another. This is a system problem, a systemic problem with this crossover. Is that you picked a crossover to adapt that that is about the series you're currently adapting, but it's from a team-up movie where they barely show up.
A team-up movie where they barely show up, and it was all about the dinosaurs.
It was all about the dinosaurs.
Because
you picked the wrong crossover.
It is because of the fact
that seeing Austin St. John again.
Awesome.
It was when he walked out of the portal. It was like, hey, it's
the original Red Ranger.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
I think the thing that hurt it the most because of the fact that they adapted the series out of order.
Yeah,
they adapted it out of order, and also
because now it's been too long.
I know I don't have the willpower to do this, but I want to be done forever with clapping because I recognize something. You know, like, oh, I know what that is, yay!
Okay,
I know what that is, yay! I hate it. I catch myself doing that sometimes, and I hate it. I'm like, no, you're better than this.
Then the next time it happens, damn it, I thought I was better than this.
And then I immediately
you're better than you do it again.
And then I immediately catch myself and stop.
You're better than the hollow pandering.
I try to be.
But no, and I absolutely get what you're saying. But and we explained this in our
I can tell.
in our rant. They picked the wrong crossover to adapt because the team that this is supposed to focus on barely shows up in it. It was a Go-Busters, put some giant quotes on that one, Kyoryuger team up. Mm-hmm. The problem was, Go-Busters was first, wasn't it?
Go-Busters was first, also...
And they were also consecutive.
Also, the dimensional hopping stuff I thought was stupid.
Oh, that's absolutely...
It was not handled well.
And it keeps popping up throughout the rest of the show.
They were adapting...
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I felt about Dr. K's appearance as well.
They were adapting a team-up for 2 consecutive shows. Mm-hmm. Dino Charge was 3-4 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's not an army. This is an army.
We have a Hulk. Get the fuck out of here.
I wish.
Let's talk about the actual action.
I have another thing I want to talk about. What the hell was that Goldar voice? What the hell was that? What the full hell was this?
I completely forgot because when I mentioned it in our original one,
this is bull.
I didn't know where he came from because there was a clip show in between that I missed.
Oh.
So that's how they ended up bringing him back. But I'm saying here, you shouldn't do a clip show.
Ever.
No.
Ultraman just did it.
That's how you... Well, Ultraman always has clip shows at the halfway point.
I know,
that's
but
just
the fact that the shows are so short.
Yeah. I mean, Power Rangers also does them. That's what their holiday specials are. But those come at the end as highlight reels.
But some of those also have their own plot.
What the hell was that Goldar voice?
It
was so bad.
It was atrocious.
And it's not just that it was a bad voice performance. His delivery was really sloppy on some lines. Just slurring words together.
Because you just described the entire thing. Sloppy.
Yeah.
It was really done. It was really sloppy.
I just listening to certain words and then he says that I'm like, oh, come on. No, that's not how it should go. Where's the oomph?
Over there. Not in his voice.
Hire me, you jerks. I can do it.
I was going to make that joke.
Yeah, I was actually a little bit disappointed that you...
If they ever bring him back, # Jacob for Goldar. Make it happen.
But yeah, I'm sitting here looking at something like this. I want to
talk those who have suggested it in the streams before, I really appreciate you.
I want to talk about this because of the fact that this is something I brought up in the rant.
What's that? I
missed when they interacted with each other, Maria.
When the 2 teams interact with each other outside of battle.
Yeah.
They don't do that in this. It's alright, we're here. Alright, we're going back to our dimension. Oh, wait, we need your help again.
Bye.
And
then the whole scene where Zoe and Ravi go over there, get injured, but Ravi sounds real nonchalant about the whole thing happening. I'm getting shot at.
We compared it to the Time Force Time Force.
Yeah, that's one of
crossover because that's pinnacle
team interaction.
Team interactions because you were hinting at romance between 2 characters from 2 different shows. That's bold.
To be fair, they had a lot less to work with Sentai-wise there.
So much less.
Because it was original. It was all
original. That one was original. So it's just I think that actually helped a little bit. This time it's just y'all tried to do a lot, but the least at the same time.
I would have loved to have seen a scene where Rocky where they go to the cafe or to the base and Rocky sits down with both the Dino Charge and the Beast Morphers Rangers and just gives them a little history lesson.
Rocky? Jason.
Oh, Jason, sorry.
Rocky wasn't in this, but then again, everybody tries to...
You know who I meant. The red Mighty Morphin Ranger who is in this.
But, and I get
a little mentor scene.
Absolutely. They tried to do that in Dino Charge. That didn't fucking work.
That was actually sort of my problem.
Because it was a goddamn clip show.
That was sort of my problem with Jason showing up in this. Because it was just...
Yeah, it is.
And now, Rangers forever. And he's gone.
Rangers for Portal closes. Okay.
What was a worst...
It's probably the worst team up.
Here could be a possibly hard question.
Because it was barely a team up.
What was a worst team up? This or the Ninja Steel 25th anniversary special?
I want to say this. I don't even remember the Ninja Steel one.
That's the one where Tommy had the Master Morpher and had to fight the evil robot version.
I think they're actually more on the same level.
Again, I remember this one way more than I do that one.
That's fair.
I think they're on the same level of awful.
I can see that.
They're really bad. They're both really bad. Both of the last 2 team-ups have been extremely
I'm inclined to say Ninja Steel just because I hated it so much.
I mean, there was nothing good in there. But it's just watching this. It was just like things kept happening. Keeper just shows up. Who was in the back? Sledge shows up, gets killed.
Yeah.
It's just like nobody did anything, and then everything that ended up happening happened too quickly. When they fought Blaze, they shot him once with a what? An arrow to the knee, and he dies immediately. Evox says, "I'm going to go ahead and use all this energy to make a new Zord."
Arrow
Dies immediately. Nothing in this has consequence, and that's sort of my problem with it.
It has consequences, but they get solved way too quickly.
Yeah, that's why I said it has no consequences.
No dramatic
like,
weight.
Nothing happens. So I'm sitting here watching this like, I didn't like any of this. That's sort of my whole issue. I hated this scene.
Do we want to move on to the finale?
Let's move to the finale. Okay. A couple of plot points here. We end up finding out that Evox is Vengeance.
Which goes back to the hey, I know who that is.
But it's just like
Which happened all over
when I saw it.
Which, no offense to people watching, that happened all over fucking Twitter. It was just immediately singing the Beast Morpher praises because they brought
you're
back.
a sequel to one of the most beloved series ever.
Doesn't mean it did it right. Doesn't mean
it's just like
It doesn't mean it earned it.
Do better.
Exactly. This is where I ended up giving the points.
I
a
love
little bit.
the idea on paper, though. I love the idea on paper.
Hold on, because this is the point where they set it up that this is an RPM sequel. It's like, all right, that's fine.
So is this post-apocalypse?
Yes. Because it's in a different universe.
Right?
Then it's not a different universe from RPM?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
But it's still the original RPM continuity.
That's
just a different universe.
Because remember, the at the end of RPM, Vengeance was in the Red Ranger Morpher.
Which Dr. K gave to Great Battle Force.
Right.
In a different universe. Because this is the first time.
Essentially, they brought the flash drive with...
If you pause the video at the right moment, you can see the moment where my mind just gives up.
Essentially, they brought a flash drive with Vengeance in it without knowing it and just plugged it into your computer and said, have fun, bye.
And that's why I sort of like the fact that Dr. K shows up.
It's also been a while since I've seen RPM, so that's probably why I'm a little lost.
This is why I like the fact that Dr. K shows up at the end to speak with Nate. Because Nate inadvertently created Evox.
Yeah.
And the whole snake DNA thing, I'm sitting here like, you keep saying these words, I don't think you know what it means.
Because we don't know what animals are.
I was really tired of...
We've already established
At least
this.
it actually was a snake.
But I'm sitting here like...
As opposed to a salamander.
I just kept hearing, Dino DNA!
Bingo! Dino DNA!
Make a dinosaur!
Dinosaurs!
And I just kept hearing that. And I was thinking, like, you kept saying DNA of various animal, insert animal here, and it just kept losing weight.
We used the complete DNA of a frog to fill the holes and complete the code.
They just, like, the more they said DNA, the more I kept
Thanks
not
to this
caring.
mosquito, I'm sorry, mantis, that was it, Amber. Because they don't know what bugs are.
The dinosaur, the praying mantis would land on the branch of a tree.
Every time they
stuck
said
in the
DNA,
sap.
one of my DNA died. Because I just was so...
Do we have those spit take?
Almost. Didn't quite happen. It was close. It was so close.
It was
We thought you would learn to not drink around him.
I didn't know what he was going to say. Had I the power of clairvoyance?
It just kept going down. Every single time they said DNA, I hated it more and more and more, and it was boring. But back to Snake DNA and Dr. K showing up again. I love the fact that they set up that immediate parallel between Nate and Dr. K. And the fact that it was her that really got him out of, oh no, this is my fault. And Dr. K was like, okay, I did the same thing.
It ended the world.
When we have control. You never have control. That's the illusion.
I ended the world inadvertently, but her situation was a lot darker.
No shit.
Just like that happened. But it's just like, I had, people pull me out of this.
Which
you get to...
She plunged the world into the darkest timeline.
Yeah, Nate got the privilege of having people there that Dr. K didn't at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's what sort of got him...
Isolated in the think tank with nobody but, an occasional butterfly in the window.
And Jim and Gemma, who came in late, and then everything went to hell.
And then...
By herself again for a while.
Yeah. And so...
Probably had friends.
Yeah, and then...
Nate had friends.
Yeah, Nate had people to, pull him out of the dark real fast. Like, we're not doing this, we ain't got time. So
We only got 2 episodes. Come on.
You gotta stand the fuck up.
And that's why I loved having Dr. K around and actually working with Weird Battle Force. But at the same time, how did Vengeance get defeated? With an arrow to the knee. Because we have to sell this bow and arrow toy that we made exclusively for the American audience.
And I'm using a bow and arrow.
Garbage.
They took the most successful.
I hated it so
Okay,
much.
one of the most successful, because we still only have one villain in Power Rangers who's ever defeated the Power Rangers.
Rancic?
No.
Trakina?
Was that her? No. Fuck.
The one who destroyed the...
Divatox?
Divatox. She was the only one who's ever, like, really officially defeated the Power Rangers.
That was the drag queen.
Divatox?
Yeah.
No. It's Detox.
It's Detox.
All right, D to the E to the O to the
So the hold it.
X.
Okay, never mind.
God damn it. Anyway.
It's all coming back to me.
There you go.
Because Roxy Andrews was there to make it clear.
Like 3 people in our audience know what the fuck you're
It's
talking
actually
about.
more
And you
than
know who you are, and I love you for it.
Anyway.
It's actually more than that. I love it.
Anyway, they took this, one of the most successful, threatening Power Rangers villains in Power Rangers history, and they memed him to death. And it really is...
So, Evox is brought out...
I don't mind Evox being Vengeance. I
think it's a great plot point.
It is a great plot point. However, execution-wise, you executed it. You put it on a goddamn slab of concrete and went...
They kidnapped Evox. Like, they brought him out to the real world. They put him in, like, a cage or something. He gets out thanks to Roxy and Blaze. Roxy and Blaze can't come back anymore.
Yeah.
And then he goes out, sees Ben and Betty, and doesn't maim them. This is vengeance.
Missed opportunity.
That was like when I knew. I was like, oh no,
disappointment.
This is going to be awful because of the fact
that's going on your performance.
We haven't even talked about season 2 of Go-Busters, but that's fine. Because of the fact that I'm sitting here, like when he didn't do anything other.
Because season 2 of Go-Busters is better than season 2 of goddamn Beast Morphers.
Yeah, when he didn't do anything other than
I disagree.
Other than tie Ben and Betty up.
Yeah.
I see here like that's not how.
Like
vengeance.
It's the 1930s.
Yeah,
that's not vengeance.
That's not vengeance.
Let me put them on a railroad track and twirl my mustache.
We saw vengeance kill people. I sit here like that ain't vengeance. I don't care what Snack Ding and I does to anybody. So I don't give a
If
damn.
anything, it would make him more murderous.
Yes, with the venom.
Is it a venom? Is it a black?
venom?
But is it a black mamba?
It's just
Gargantuan venom.
And then he goes, I'm going to go ahead and get into the morphing grid. Through the Morphex Tower.
Oh, that's another thing we complained about during the fucking... during our rant.
Is it the way the morphing grid was used?
The morphing grid was...
Yes, because that shows up in the team up. Where Devin's going to get hit by a meteorite. But it doesn't do anything. Because the morphing grid told him it was going to happen. And then Devin didn't believe the morphing grid. But the morphing grid, as we all know apparently, is all-knowing.
He switched off his targeting computer.
We made that comparison.
I know!
The morphing grid is the Force. It really kind of, for the Power Ranger universe, it really kind of
binds us together.
It binds us to... It is a force that binds us together.
What gives them the powers.
And gives abilities to people, but it's not... To a degree, it's sentient. Not that fucking sentient.
The thing is, it's like when it ends up coming to the morphing grid, the comics is where they really should go into something like that, not the TV show.
I think you could do it in the TV show too.
They don't do it well.
No, that's
it. All comes down to that, doesn't it?
The problem is they're trying to make it God, and it's not.
That's what and this is why I don't like the fact
one is actually human being, and the other is Jesus.
This is why I don't like the morphing grid. I'd much rather everything be standalone from each other, so we don't end up getting stupid things like Once a Ranger back in Operation Overdrive. We don't end up getting something like this.
I don't mind Once a Ranger as an idea. I don't mind the morphing grid being what it was described essentially in RPM. I don't mind it being the Force for Power Rangers. I don't mind that. What I mind is giving people visions, making them the chosen one, and just being something that it's not.
I don't have a problem with the Chosen One thing. The problem with that was they never followed through on it.
I'm just talking about picking a Chosen One in general because it shouldn't have that capability. It's not.
It's like they just keep trying to build.
I don't know that I agree with that.
It's like they keep trying to build off of it.
It's got to be done right.
But again, it comes down to that because it's got to be done right. Because I mean, I remember when people were angry that people were using the Force in certain ways in Rise of Skywalker. It's like, no, the Force can't do that. It's like, how do you know? I'm sorry, it's space magic. Are you an expert?
In my opinion, I'll preface that what Disney and Star Wars have been doing to the Force does not compare to what they're doing to the Morphing Grid because they're not saying. The Morphing Grid they're not saying the Force decided that the Earth is going to get hit by a meteor today, so here's a vision. It seemed a little too Deus Ex Machina. I was going to say Deus Ex Machina.
It really did. And because of the fact that there was no...
And I understand the Force has been used as a Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, but I feel like with the Force,
not
it's
to that
just like...
degree.
We see, especially in the past movies and stuff in extraneous media, it's just like, the Force can do a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of things that can be done here. With the TV show, though, all they really has ever described it as is just... This is something that we can tap into to give you your powers. That's about it. With this one, they're just like, we went too far. In the comics, they were just like, all right, we're going to build it up. We're going to go from there. But in this...
My biggest problem with it was the resurrection of Steel. Terrible, terrible...
I think he agrees with you.
Bottom tier of the MCU level fake death. Just, what the crap is this?
That was... trash.
Okay, if you're gonna kill, I actually got pretty emotional when Steel got killed.
Same.
Because again, I really like that character. His death was not given the weight it deserved.
No.
And then they bring him back the next episode as a human being.
Oh, a real boy.
Yeah, they basically Pinocchioed him.
They Pinocchioed him
terribly.
Terribly.
You can Pinocchio somebody. That is fine. It worked-ish in Operation Overdrive because it took like half a season. It took half a season of, dealing with the fact that he wasn't human.
Yeah.
And also, it was the thing that made him human was already described as something that could grant any wish. It was given limitless potential.
It was outside of the Morphing Grid.
Exactly. But it
was like you heard Zordon's voice from above. I've granted you the power to bullshit out of this.
It was exactly that.
That's more of a Tenso move than a Zordon move.
But you heard Zordon's voice. Because it is the Morphing Grid.
I would still think it's more likely to see Tenso's head going, you will be given powers not yet seen on this earth. Bullshit.
It was just like, suddenly your brother is back. This time as an actual real boy. And I'm just like, this was a great idea.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
Oh boy.
It was just done.
They made the Morphing Grid god.
It was so shoddy.
Next season there will be temples to the Morphing Grid. There will be
Let
churches.
the dude die.
Didn't we say that in Build?
I mean, yeah. Oh god, that's
coming up.
That's several months away. That's actually a while away. That won't happen until sometime halfway through next year.
But still.
It's
gonna happen.
God. Also, tonight's the last episode of 01.
Fuck, is it really?
Yeah. I'll be watching that live.
Am I an episode behind then?
Episode 45.
The last episode I watched.
We'll talk about it after.
Yeah.
None of this is done well. I hated all of season 2. Compared to the second half of Go-Busters, where it's just like, alright, Enter takes second stage. And then he just starts doing whatever the hell he wants because don't nobody got any time to
It was definitely more entertaining.
He's just like, I'm going to manipulate Escape and I think that we're going to bring Messia back. Plot twist, it's all about me.
Not really a plot twist, though.
And then he's just going to corrupt her with whatever he wants to do.
Shocking to no one.
I loved Enter. I loved Enter from the beginning.
To no one.
Because he was just such a troll. But then he just kept getting slightly more evil and slightly more manic. But then you have a comparison to him and Evox, because that was really the second half of this. Blaze doesn't matter. Roxy doesn't matter. They just die over and over again until they can't anymore. Enter was just such a good villain to watch. Evenjix just wasn't that great.
Yeah. Although,
it's just like you took a lot of...
I agree with you, but at the same time, Go-Busters I didn't like Go-Busters.
I mean, yeah.
I didn't like Go-Busters. I wasn't too... Enter really didn't do anything for me.
He did a lot for me.
But that's just me.
I just thought he would... Because of the fact that he was so evil.
In terms of the story that we were presented, I enjoyed and believed more Go-Busters than I did Beast Morphers. Because there was too many character inconsistencies with the villains of Beast Morphers, because Marcus is absolutely right. Vengeance would have eaten them alive. Literally.
Oh, no.
Exactly. And either that or turn them into robots.
It's like, I do think we're going to go, not so much far enough, but not have the cojones to really pull through with this when nothing happened to Ben and Betty.
Yeah.
Like, I understand he doesn't see them as threats, but at the same time, this is Vengeance. Vengeance killed everybody.
Children, threats, no threats.
He would have just maimed them.
He pretty much committed genocide.
He did commit genocide. That was his whole thing.
Technically, no, because there were still humans left, so it's technically not.
To make a comparison, this would be like Brainiac returning to Earth and just robbing a convenience store.
Yeah.
I got nothing else to say.
We've said a lot.
I give season 2 straight. We'll call season 2 after Messy Night. It's like I give that straight to Go-Busters as well because I just loved Enter. With Beast Morphers, it was just hills and very deep valleys.
I definitely like Beast Morphers a lot.
Beef Morphers.
It's wonderful with barbecue sauce. Beast Morphers, I enjoyed quite a bit. After the Ninja Steel rant, I said my love for Power Rangers was dead. And lo and behold, I thought this show was quite good.
Overall, I'll give it that. It was passable overall.
It was definitely passable. I hated season 2 so much. That's such a bad taste.
I didn't hate season 2, at least nowhere near as much.
I wasn't angry.
I was disappointed with season 2 more than anything else.
I was disappointed.
My whole point of watching season 2 was just like, why?
But
why not?
At this point, we're starting to just repeat ourselves.
That we are. We do that a lot.
This is our comparison / rant / review of Beast Morphers and Go-Busters.
Yeah.
And as always, let us know what you think in the comments down below. This is going to be some interesting comment sections today.
Join us next time. It's going to be a while before we end up getting to Dino Fury and Ryuji Soldier. But of course, I don't know when I'm going to end up putting this out. It probably won't end up being this week. It'll probably actually end up being next Wednesday.
As the time of recording this.
Yes. I hope you enjoyed our Ghost review. I didn't.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Follow us on all the things.
Before we go, just something I'd like to say. Whoever you are, thank you for watching. And there's a lot of bad news out there in the world right now, but...
A lot of bad news.
Have a better day, as Robert Burnett likes to say.
Have a better day.
And I hope we bring some joy to it amongst all of our anger.
What is that line? Be kind to each other and rock on, dudes.
Be excellent to each other.
Be excellent to each other. My apologies.
And party on, dudes.
And party on, dudes. That movie just came out.
I know.
You don't like Bill and Ted?
No.
Each their own.
To each their own.
Follow us on all the things. Thank you for watching.
Bye, everybody.